For today's teleconference, we'll lead off with Commissioner Mike Aresco, who will be followed by Temple head coach Matt Rule, and then Houston head coach Tom Herman. We will have each speaker for approximately 10 minutes. We'll ask each to give an opening statement, and then we'll prompt for questions. To ask a question, please press *1 to join the queue, and then the operator will introduce you. But leading off is Commissioner Mike Aresco. Mike, thank you for joining us today. If you would just briefly give an opening statement on the championship game and the 2015 season as we head into our first championship game, please.
Well, thank you, Chuck. And the coaches are the stars of this show, so I'm going to be relatively brief, and obviously we'll entertain any questions. Appreciate the members of the media who are joining us, and we appreciate your coverage all year. First of all, congratulations to both Temple and Houston for advancing to our first ever football championship game. We're obviously very excited about this, and you'll hear from the coaches shortly. Again, Matt Rule and Tom Herman have done a fantastic job this year. Also want to congratulate the president of Temple, Neil Theobald, and the president of Houston, Renu Couture, for their vision and their support of this conference. Pat Kraft, the AD at Temple, and Hunter Urachek, the AD at Houston, have also done outstanding jobs. We're obviously excited to play our first championship game. There'll be, we're virtually certain there'll be close a sellout in Houston. We know that the University of Houston and the City of Houston are going to provide a great stage for our student athletes. We're thrilled that this game will be an ABC National. This will be our 5th ABC National game this year, and obviously that will probably, likelihood assure a terrific television audience. Also, a chance at a New Year's Day game could well be in the balance here. We'll have to see what the college football playoff standings are tomorrow, but we're obviously very optimistic with the accomplishments of these two programs. It's an interesting coincidence that Houston and Temple played in the very first American Athletic Conference game back in 2013 in Philadelphia. I did the coin toss, and I'm going to do it again this Saturday with a great deal of pride. So it's very, very fitting that these two teams play in our first conference championship game, and they've earned the right. They've had terrific seasons, and they've played very tough schedules. As you know, we play some of the toughest non-conference schedules in the country, and these two teams acquitted themselves extremely well. We also had very worthy teams challenging them all season. It's been a terrific year, a remarkable year for this conference. This game figures to be one of the best games of championship week, and you have two top 25 teams with elite coaches and student athletes in the game. Again, as I mentioned, we're pleased to have this as a full national telecast on ABC, second week in a row that ABC has chosen one of our games for a national broadcast, and we're quite pleased with that. I don't really have much more at this point. I know you're going to look forward to talking to our two coaches, but I want to congratulate their teams for the way they've played and conducted themselves all season. And again, I'm very proud of the conference overall. This should be a tremendous showcase for our conference, and we're all looking forward to being there. Thank you. And Chuck, open it to questions if anybody has any.
We'll take questions for Commissioner Aresco. Please hit *1 on your telephone if you wish to join the queue. Then the operator will introduce you.
We'll take a question from Chris Franklin with Coach and Player Magazine.
Hello, Commissioner Aresco. How are you doing today?
Hello, Chris. How are you?
Not bad, thanks. As you know, right now there's 5 and 7 teams probably going to be in a bowl game this year. First of all, what's your opinion of a 5 and 7 team being in a bowl game? And second, have you yourself heard of any which way the Football Oversight Committee may lean?
No, we don't know yet where the Oversight Committee is going to go on this. As you know, there is an issue regarding which 5-7 teams will be chosen, and there's a question about the priority in terms of the APR standing, obviously the graduation rate progress standing for the teams. Legislation that was passed needs to be looked at to make sure that we have enough teams to fill the bowls. I myself, and I think the other commissioners, and I think the council will share this view, do not want any bowls to go dark this year. I think that would be, just highly undesirable. So consequently, it looks as though we will, as you mentioned, have some 5-7 teams. We're just not sure which ones yet. Don't know how the oversight committee is going to deal with this. But one of the issues, Chris, has been, some of the conferences that don't have as many as 10 tie-ins or 9 or whatever needed to find homes, bowl homes for their teams. And so consequently, this is one year when you have a shortfall, or some years when you wouldn't necessarily have one. But you don't want bowls that have planned all year not to have a team. Now, obviously, it's not a good situation when you have 5-7 and you don't have enough 6-6 teams. But I think in the end, we want to make sure that, and especially if the 6-6 team is in a bowl, it needs obviously an opponent. And if it's a 5-7 team, then so be it. You don't want that 6-6 team not to be able to go to a bowl. But it's it's a situation that we're going to have to look at next year broadly and try to figure out what we want to do. Whether it's a question of limiting, any new bowls, I don't know ultimately whether that is something that the membership is going to want to do. But it's just one of those things this year, and we're going to have to deal with it. I think, but again, we don't know how the priority is going to go. But I do think that the decision will be to fill bowls that need teams with 5-7 teams as opposed to having any bowls go dark. I know there were some reports that was a possibility, and I just don't think that that's going to have any strong support. That's my sense.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris.
And we have time for one more question for Commissioner Aresco, please.
We'll take one from Sean Pastor with Al's Daily.
Hi, Mike. How are you?
Hello, Sean. How you doing today?
Great. I was just curious on your thoughts on, Temple's situation. They're coming off last year, probably the first time in NCAA history where a school was the first team left out of the NCAA tournament and presumably the first team left out of the bowl situation. And just particularly whether, last year, presumably if the league had kind of structured its bowl situation differently, there might have been a spot for Temple. But just coming off all that and where they are now, what's your thoughts on that situation?
Well, first of all, last year was just one of those things. We didn't have enough bowl tie-ins last year. And remember, you have to remember, Sean, where we were 3 years ago. We had to scramble. We did lose some bowl tie-ins of long standing that went back to the old Big East days, and we did the best we could. This year, as you know, we have 7 hard tie-ins. In addition, we hope to be playing on New Year's Day, and we also have a backup in the Independence Bowl that this year looks like it will materialize. Last year, we only had 5 tie-ins, and we had some backups that did not materialize, and we narrowly missed out on New Year's Day, which would have given us another slot. So it was just one of those things where, unfortunately, Temple was 6-6 and bowl eligible and wasn't able to go. And obviously, with respect to basketball, we obviously thought that they deserved a spot in the NCAA tournament. It was just one of those things. But I couldn't be more pleased for them, for the football program, for what they've done this year. And I know Matt and his team talked about using last year's situation as motivation, and they certainly took care of business and had a remarkable season. And I would also add, Sean, while we're on this topic, I think Temple has been one of the more, and I think Houston as well, they've been some of the more underappreciated teams this year. They have played very good non-conference schedules. I think that when you play Notre Dame the way they did, and they easily could have won the game, and you defeat Penn State the way they did, and you have the kind of schedule with tough road games in our conference that they played, and their decisive win over a really, really good Memphis team and Cincinnati out there, they've had a tremendous resume. And the same can be said for Houston. When they beat Vanderbilt 34-0, that should have opened up a lot of eyes, because Vanderbilt, as you know, has played very competitively for the most part in the SEC, and so consequently they did, and they went up to Louisville and won on the road, and Louisville ended up having a winning record and beat a lot of good teams, and only lost to Clemson by 3 points. The same situation up at Louisville. So that was a big win by Houston there, and they've had beating Cincinnati at home and coming back to beat Memphis, and obviously having a big win over a really, really good Navy team. These are 2 really good, deserving teams that I don't think have been nationally as appreciated as much as they should be. But we're looking forward to it, and again, I'm pleased for Temple that it's really worked out for them this year, and also for our teams. We'll be able to place all our bowl teams this year, and I'm very pleased about that.